Comic accurate isn't an argument, especially if you're not clarifying specifically which comic universe you're talking about. There's over 2 dozen of them, including ones that gender swap, race swap, and, villain to hero swap. And I don't mean like switch villains from different heroes. I mean like the heroes are the villains and the villains are the heroes. They got weird ones. So when you're trying to say comic accurate isn't a thing, this isn't from the comics, did y'all say that every time a new universe came out? No, y'all enjoyed the difference. So when you're calling MCU out for not being comic accurate, I want to start here y'all call out every single universe and every single hero version that is not the original. Now, I disagree with this position. I enjoy different takes. I think it's what is the whole point of a comic universe is to have different versions, especially if you're going to bring the multiverse into it. Literally every single hero is not going to be the exact same portrayal every time. That's okay. To say it's not kind of means you're just not a real fan of the comics. And if you've never seen the comics, I'm not talking about you. And except for the part where I'm saying you have to understand this is how it's always been. These different versions are not something that are just automatically trash because they're different. I don't like the Snyderverse. That doesn't mean it's not a different version, and it might be the version for some people. I personally just don't like Batman that kills. That's completely against the antithesis of why he is Batman. It ruins the Red Hood story. It ruins the problems between him and his son Damian. A Superman that doesn't act like he grew up in Smallville and was a good old boy, like farmer character, very, very much human. Had that spirit of togetherness and all that. That's why Batman and Superman are the world's finest. They are a dichotomy to each other. They are separate in every factor. If you were to look at, a zigzag of it where one side is Batman's qualities and the other side is this, they're jumping back and forth. And that's not cool to do. Superman, where he's bright and human-like, Batman is dark, brooding, and very alien around other humans. Where Superman is the costume and the secret identity, technically Batman is the true identity, where Bruce Wayne is the costume. I mean, if you're not understanding that, then just please go research the characters more. I mean, maybe it's not your version, but then you weren't actually a real Batman fan or Superman fan. Zack Snyder said, I changed this because I heard everyone saying Batman doesn't kill. And I said, well, mine is gonna. Superman's all bright and happy and very much togetherness and let's help people and doesn't kill. Well, my version's gonna. That's why people don't like you, Zack Snyder, because you didn't just make an adaptation. You literally gutted what made these heroes stand apart from each other. A big deal with the Justice League is the disagreements, which you did kind of show, but not in the way that it's supposed to be. Their disagreement was whether to bring Superman back to life, not on how to handle justice. Batman and Superman's no-killing rule is kind of what gets both of them, to start paying attention to each other more. This is what makes them stand out to other members, but over time, they evolve the personalities through character arcs for each one of them. They learn from each other. So, if you're gonna say comic accurate, which comic line, which universe or Earth, DC Marvel, you have to clarify. These specifics matter. And for you out there that say it doesn't, I hope you live well with that delusion in your head and you never pick up something like this for DC or this book specifically, because it's just going to prove you wrong. And obviously, from a lot of commenters defending Zack Snyder's universe, y'all don't know anything about those characters. So Just wanted to make this a little bit longer to go into more detail, but yeah, comic accurate isn't an argument, because if it was, y'all would have been saying it about every single different comic line that was ever made that changed anything about characters. And if y'all are so hyped up about all these gender swap and race swaps, then man, why didn't y'all jump on Netflix? Why? There's multiple in it. Prime example would be Diamondback from Luke Cage season 1. And I've already seen that they're going to be adding Bushmaster, I think was it, which is another member of the Serpent Society. Like, Serpent Society is Captain America villains. What were y'all doing? Now, granted, it's a different version of them, but whew, the fans defend y'all because, like, they switch a gender up, they switch a race up. In Disney, you'll never hear the end of it. Like, literally, people are still talking about the ones that happened years ago now. But when it comes to Netflix, y'all are praised when y'all do it. Y'all took away the powers of Diamondback. Y'all switched the race of Diamondback. And you turned her into a guy. So a white woman with superpowers became a black man without superpowers. And y'all defended that? Man, no wonder my fans that were friends of this says, hey, it's a different universe. It's not canon to the MCU. Anyone who thinks is stupid. And this was back during the pandemic where I was asking them about it because I was like, what can we watch? Luckily, Disney Plus started putting out content because holy shit, Netflixed it up to a degree that is actually not forgivable. I know I'm talking about comic universe, which one it came from, comic accuracy isn't an argument, but at the same time, could you at least got one thing right with Diamondback? Could you not be stripping away powers like flight from Jessica Jones and then literally making small little quippy humor about it throughout the entire freaking series, first season and second season? It's like y'all knew y'all were gutting the characters and y'all didn't care. And obviously, the fans didn't either. Which I think is actually more disgraceful because people are all like, well, Disney's not doing it right. They're screwing up characters. I'm like, not on the level that Netflix did. Don't even start on that. Now, don't get me wrong. They screwed Taskmaster up horribly. That's a bad adaptation. Like, you took away everything, and Taskmaster has such a, sad backstory. Like, he's a broken character that can't even remember it. In the comics, he's still talking to his wife, who's still a S.H.I.E.L.D. member, who's hiding it from S.H.I.E.L.D. that she's finding missions for him to go train and teach people, and he doesn't know it. But it's her only way to talk to her husband anymore. His power literally rips away memories to let these new skills come in. The more he learns, the less he is of his former self. That's a story that just would have done so well if you gave it the time. But instead, you did what you did, and that was crap. I mean, y'all came up with the 10 Rings. And that was a complete bullshit organization. It doesn't exist. Like I said in the short, I looked through that book like 4 or 5 times and couldn't find it. And then just realized, wow, Disney just utterly made that up. Going ahead and ruining the Mandarin before you even got the Mandarin. Because even the Netflix series couldn't even give magic to the hand. And the Mandarin is a leader of the hand. Like, the connections that were possible, but intentionally ignored. So, if you're going to talk comic accurate, at least be able to defend which universe it's from, even if it's not an argument. Catch y'all later.